Mind your business. Mind your business. Mind your business. Mind your business. For the people who are learning to mind their business.
Welcome to Mind Your Business. My name is Tug Coward, along with Phil Hudson. We talk about sports, we talk about music, we talk about money. This is a podcast, and it's evolved into a video podcast for Dickey
Video
Broadcast.
hang.
Video hang, video podcast, video hang. Hang out with us here in the 680 The Fan Cave. It's an evolution for sure, and it's changing and will continue to change. But it is the first video hang for Dickey Broadcasting, which is The Fan, 680 93.7 FM, as well as Atlanta Sports X and the Braves Radio Network. Today, Andrew Keenan from Callanwolde is pick up.
Right off the rip.
I should have never said wood.
Yeah, no.
It was Old English for wood.
That's right, yeah.
Callanwolde.
That's right. Andrew Keenan from Callanwolde is and Callanwolde is a fine arts center, but it's community supported.
Yes.
It's an extraordinary place.
So it's a nonprofit, and it used to be the Candler Estate, correct?
It was.
So can you just kind of tell us a little bit about what y'all do and what y'all do today and kind of your history and heritage?
Absolutely. What we do today is we have, it's what we don't do. It's probably easier to say because we've got so many different art classes that you can take there. One of the biggest pottery programs in the Southeast. I'm a little competitive that way, I think, because we just bought a ton, like 13 new potter's wheels, and we had 18 before that, and that was right about where Georgia State is, And so now we have 13 more, I think, than Georgia State.
No kidding.
It's a big deal. That's the most popular classes.
Pottery.
Pottery, throwing on the wheel.
Why?
Everybody wants to do it. I don't know
It is kind of cool looking.
It's really cool. But anyway, so we've got pottery, we've got photography, drawing, printmaking, and the photography is cool because we have digital and we have old school darkroom. We've got a huge darkroom, and that's what people really like because it's all this stuff that it's hard to do at home by yourself, right? People can do a lot of stuff on computers and so forth, and they can teach themselves, but you got to buy a kiln, you've got to buy a potter's wheel to do these other things. It's hard to try that stuff out on your own too.
So what is it that's drawing people back to the old school form of photography?
I don't know. It's kind of like a lot of kids today are buying turntables.
Just the throwback.
Yeah,
Right?
it's just the throwback. It's the nostalgia. Just doing it like it used to be done.
Using your hands.
Well, but you can even say that. And look, I'm not trying to bring it to modern day kids and millennials, but video games, right? Everybody still likes going back and playing the old video games.
The old school.
There's
stuff,
something about doing it the way it used to be done that's appealing to people. And I think the turntable thing is so spot on. And I'll tell you why. A dear friend of mine, my son Jacob and his son Ben play sports together, have been since they're 8. They'll go all the way through high school playing on the same team. And his sister, Ben's sister, Reagan, for Christmas this year, got a record player.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something about having the vinyl, having the actual physical album and putting it down, instead of just going to your phone and hitting play, because that's what everybody does.
All 3 of my kids have them.
Yeah, it's very cool.
I have
cool.
vinyl, but no record player.
Yeah, it's so funny. Okay, well, me too.
I gave all my vinyl away years ago. It just kills me. Right?
Oh, so
it was some great stuff, and I was like, oh man.
I got myself in such a deep mess. My father-in-law gave me a bunch of vinyl, and I love it, but I didn't really have a place for it. A dear friend of mine was really into it, and this is 20 years ago because my wife and I have been married almost 20 years, so I gave it all to him. And my wife was like, "You gave away the albums my dad gave you?" Yes, I did.
Oh.
Yeah, so I got myself in some deep trouble.
I did the same thing.
Y'all do a lot more than visual art, though. Y'all do a ton in music
and we've
as well.
we've got a big music program too, which includes
the Jazz on the Lawn.
Jazz on the Lawn, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. We just had our first one this last Friday, and it was...
Who played it?
Joe Granston.
Okay.
And Robin Lattimore.
I feel like, is it fair to say Joe's like the king of Atlanta jazz now?
Joe is...
He's
you know what? Joe is an amazing guy. He is not only just an incredible musician, he's a hell of an entertainer.
Yeah.
I mean, he gets up and he's cracking jokes, and here was my night, right? The gates open at 6:30. The show starts at 7:30. We have an outdoor amphitheater. I don't know if you remember what it was like last Friday at about, the weather might have been a little different up here than it was down at Callanwolde, but at 6 o'clock, it was pouring rain.
Yeah, it's coming down.
Pouring rain, right? And, we've had shows in the rain and so forth, but typically what would happen is it would rain during the show, and people are like, we don't care.
Yeah, you're already out there.
It's not a big deal, right?
Yeah.
You're already there and so forth. But this was all happening before. So I had to make the call. And everybody's going, what are we going to do?
Are we doing it or we're not?
So it's 6 o'clock. I said I'd make the call. Let's see what's happening. I'm looking at the radar. There's a big storm coming in, and I'm thinking, it's already pouring rain now, that we're going to have a little bit of a break, but the musicians are all set up under the tent, and so forth.
Did he bring his full band?
No, he didn't, thank God, because that's a massive.
So his full band's like, what,
right.
17, 18 people?
Yeah, exactly.
Something crazy.
I think it's 17, including him. But so the drummers all set up, everything, all the sound, everything.
Yeah.
I had to make the call, and I said, we're going inside. We're going inside.
Cool. Y'all took it in?
We took it inside. We have a courtyard. And it was originally, when the Candlers lived in it, was an open courtyard, right? Well, over the years, it got covered, and it's got like a brick floor and so forth. So I said, we're having jazz on the bricks tonight.
There we go.
And I got to tell you, between my staff, who I am so lucky. I got the best staff. And Joe and our sound guys, Kemper and Paul, these two guys who are like just absolutely amazing. We use them every year. We use them for everything.
So they're opposite of the normal sound guy who complains like crazy.
Oh my God, these guys are fantastic.
That's awesome.
No, I'm serious. And the quality of the sound is amazing.
Of course. The cranky sound guy.
Yeah, of course.
It's all hands on deck. Now, we didn't bring all the speakers and everything in because we didn't need to. Because it's in the courtyard.
It's a smaller place.
It's a smaller, and Joe and his saxophone player, John, I can't remember John's last name, sorry, John, both played acoustic.
Oh, cool.
Still killed it.
One of the best, I think the best jazz night I've seen.
Wow.
Really intimate. Everybody got really close to the stage. We didn't put them up on anything. They were just right at the same level.
Awesome.
And the sound quality was fantastic. Although the sound guys were saying, "Oh, it's not, whatever." I thought it was fantastic because you could really hear Joe. And then Joe even sang without a microphone at one point. He said, "This is something I've been training for." He walked out and kind of not quite in the middle of the room, and was singing. He was bringing it up and just trying to be as loud as he could, like the way opera singers do.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
So he
could have never done that out of the amphitheater, because our amphitheater
is huge.
It's
not
500
small.
people.
Yeah, it's not small. Yeah.
So it was fantastic.
Did Joe and John Driscoll Hopkins do a show there with the Atlanta Pops Orchestra?
They did.
Okay, so that's where I think the first time I came. That was like 2017.
Yeah, they did it 3 years in a row at Christmas time.
Okay, so that's his Christmas show.
For a gala.
Gotcha.
Do they record it every year too? It seems like
I think they recorded at one point.
Okay.
So Hop does it.
We had a board member that was. Had connections at, still does. He's not on the board anymore, so they don't record it, but connection with Georgia State. And he teaches video production or something.
Right.
And so forth. Funny thing is, we never really did much with the recording, so I wish we had, to tell you the truth. But
that's the show I went to was unreal.
I'd like to get those recordings actually.
But, you said a famous name that I think everyone in Atlanta knows, but not everyone knows what they're famous for. The Candlers.
Oh yes.
So
absolutely.
Tell our listeners a little bit about who they are and why, how they came to own an estate.
So, Asa Candler, right, bought the formula, right, and he basically took Coca-Cola from the formula from nothing to a
Coca-Cola,
really big corporation, right? His eldest son, Charles Howard Candler, took over Coca-Cola from Asa when Asa became the mayor of Atlanta. So when
that's
he
deep
became
roots right there,
right? But he had already been working at Coca-Cola and so forth and doing well. And I think he might even been up in Canada or something.
Could you imagine Muhtar retiring to be Atlanta mayor?
Yeah. No.
And during that process, they essentially sold Coca-Cola to the Woodruffs. So some money.
Yeah,
You know, and I think
yeah.
they took it public and so forth, and during that process too.
What year about was this?
Well,
Or decade?
I think that happened in 1916, I believe, somewhere
pre-World
around
War
there.
II, pre-World War II.
Oh yeah, way before World War II. Yeah. So, and then Asa gave his kids a bunch of property all throughout Druid Hills area, which is kind of Virginia Highlands and so forth, and Emory. It's really before Emory was a university; it was still a college back then, and so forth. So, he had Druid Hills that he was developing, and then all these big properties. So he gave Charles 30 acres, right? And it's it's beautiful property. It's
When there used to be 30 acres in Atlanta.
exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And
That's a
so
good
Charles builds this huge 27,000 square foot mansion on the peak of the property, which is pretty high up because when you go, I can get up on the roof, way
the
up on
city?
the roof. Yeah, you can see Midtown and
Atlanta's
and when
kind of
it's-
built like on a hill anyway.
Well, it's interesting because it's all like this, right?
Yeah.
And Druid Hills is truly, and Virginia Highlands is.
Can we put you
is
on the spot
Highlands.
real quick?
Sure.
So if we sneak out and have a few beers and sneak up on the roof, will you make sure we don't get kicked out?
I will.
There you go.
I'll be
Life
up there
is
with
good.
you. I'll be up there with you.
I love it.
And I've been up there with some of my buddies actually.
Nice.
And
That's
with some
awesome.
people. I actually give a secret tour of the mansion, and
Whoa, a
certain people,
secret tour.
for certain people, and with the weather conditions are nice. You don't want to go up there when it's 90 degrees because it's interesting. It's a flat roof. And there's peaks on either side that it's right at the very peak of the roof, but it's open and flat up there.
Is it fair to call the Atlanta's Biltmore?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And that's why it got a name like Biltmore. The Vanderbilts had to have a name for the Biltmore. Well, the Candlers had a name, and they called it Callanwolde.
Oh, so they actually named it.
They named it. Yeah, it was sort of what you did back then.
Yeah.
Right. So.
Tug has
Getting back to the
constantly tug.
story.
Yes, I
and
do.
you cut me off when I start getting boring, right? Because I can go into great detail about
Go
this
for
stuff.
it.
All right. So getting back to the story. So 1917, he starts construction on this 30-acre estate. They first build a carriage house that's now behind the mansion, right? This 27,000 square foot mansion. It takes them 3 years to build the actual mansion itself. So we're going to be celebrating our 100th anniversary next year
No kidding.
of the mansion, which is pretty cool. The mansion is built like a fortress, and I believe it is because in 1916, if you really know your history, we had the Great Fire in Atlanta that swept up through the old Fourth Ward and came north and crossed over Ponce, believe it or not, for a little bit, like maybe a half block or so.
Yeah.
And Callanwolde is built of terracotta block, because you didn't have cinder block back in the day, cement reinforced with steel. And it's like a giant U shape, right? Every floor and every wall. So upstairs,
So the whole foundation.
everything. You go up in the attic, you look at the floor, it's concrete. It is built. It was the designated fallout shelter for the neighborhood during World War II.
Wow. They don't build them like that anymore.
No, it doesn't. And I live close by. My house is a little bit over 100 years old. When we first moved into that house, and still, the floors are like this,
Right.
And the door frames are, the doors are kind of cut off weird, and they open and shut by themselves. That's why you think you have ghosts.
Yeah.
And old houses, Callanwolde, every door frame is perfectly square. Very, very few cracks. We've got a few things happening outside with the stucco that has more to do with roof leaks and so forth, and stuff that's happened over the years. But we're really getting the place in shape for 100th anniversary, repainting the inside, doing a lot of stuff to the outside, fixing up the grounds.
Is there anything kind of unique to the Candler family? Like, did they want a bowling alley or?
Well, okay, very good that you mentioned that. They had a duck pin bowling alley in the basement.
Hold up, I don't know the difference.
Duck pin. So that's the smaller pins, and there's some places around here. What is it, painted pin or something?
Yeah, painted duck.
Painted duck.
Yeah.
That's right.
No, painted pin.
Yeah, painted pin and painted duck, same thing.
Oh, okay,
gotcha.
Same owner.
Well, they're starting to, but now that's where our pottery studio is.
Got it.
But at the very end of it is a vault, right? That need to get open somehow.
You can call what's
Geraldo
Rivera.
That's right.
He'll get it open. There might not be anything in there when he opens it.
It's the secret formula. Formula's got to be in there, right?
It's got to be, you'd think, right?
That's what you think.
No, it's going to be
No
empty.
one has any idea how to get in it?
No, and I need a safe cracker. So if any of your viewers are safe crackers, please give me a call if they want to donate their time.
Do you know who manufactured it?
I'm not sure.
That's what's crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
what
wow.
could be in there?
This is a 1920s
Do you have any idea
walk-in vault.
when was the last time it was open?
I think it was back in the 70s.
Oh, dude, we got to figure this out.
Now, wouldn't that be cool?
Well, so back in the 70s, what was happening there in the home?
Here's the rest of the story. Basically, it's an interesting story. So when the Candlers lived there from 1920 in the mansion, because they were there a little bit before that, to 1959, and Charles had died a couple years before, but his wife stayed in the house. And there were 3 generations living at the house at the time. So there's, young kids and so forth, of grandchildren. And he said, if none of my kids want the house, I want to donate it to Emory University. And I'd like it to be a fine arts center. Well, Emory took possession of it. And I don't know for sure. The people at Emory who accepted at the time aren't around anymore. But I have a feeling it was kind of a white elephant for them when they got it, right? Here's this huge mansion.
Like, what do we do with it?
It
kind
was
of thing?
furnished. I mean, I'd like to actually get access to some of the furniture. And man, they had these huge Oriental rugs that went practically wall to wall.
Oh, wow.
That are, I mean, there's no way we could afford something like that right now. So Emory kind of used it as a retreat for their professors and so forth, and maybe some student activities. And we've got this great article from their alumnus magazine hanging on the wall, and it shows Emory students kind of like modeled, as models throughout the house. And there was a swimming pool at the time, and the pool's empty, right? But they're all like
hanging out
around the pool
yeah.
and stuff. And then we've got this organ, right? We got
The famous organ.
it's an Aeolian organ. It's a 4-chamber. I call it the beating heart of the mansion. The mansion was essentially built around this organ. Huge deal. I mean, it's worth, not a couple million, but pretty close to.
Wow.
How does it compare to the one at the Fox?
Oh, it's a lot smaller than one of the Fox, but
Still amazing, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's still functioning.
Oh, it still functions,
Yeah.
and it's got a player, so you can put rolls on it and play.
Oh, wow.
Which is kind of cool. We still got tons of rolls from original ones. From the
Wow.
house.
Are they worth any money? I broke into
I think
Alabama's
so.
Chimes and stole some rolls when I was in college. They left the door open. I'm like, I can't believe this. It was like 3 in the morning.
So you,
I think they are.
So I stole some rolls.
I don't know for sure. I would imagine that they're worth a lot of money, for the right people. There are whole societies of people that are into that sort of
Preserving this,
thing.
so yeah,
that
it's
preserving. But, there's like 3,700 pipes in 4 different chambers up there. And that's part of my secret tour. So you go up in the attic and you see,
They can look
2
down
of
on
the
it?
chambers are 2 stories high of pipes. And the
Goodness.
pipes go up and they still bend at the top.
wow.
But these chambers are, it's burnished plaster, right? So it all,
Sounds like Phantom of the Opera a little bit.
it's pretty damn cool.
Is it haunted?
Well, I only pass on what I hear. I don't make anything up, right? There have been 2 deaths, for sure I know of, actually maybe more, because we did have a father of the bride who died of a heart attack at one point. That's, probably saw the bill for the wedding.
That's right,
but,
yeah.
I shouldn't laugh about that. But we did have a murder.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Now
It's definitely haunted.
we went
Yeah.
from we went
Definitely.
from
And it was close to a decapitation.
No kidding.
oh wow,
Is this what year?
Phantom of
Or
the
decade?
Opera to Clue.
I think it was
Like our lifetime?
Yeah, well, I'm a little older than you guys, so I don't know if it was B or Lifetime.
Speaking of
80s.
You know what a
My
doppelganger is?
80s. Yeah.
It's like your twin out
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Adam Zimmerman. What do you think? Sounds just like Adam.
Yeah, you guys sound a lot
Adam's
alike.
the vice president of marketing for the Braves. We've had him on the show.
Oh,
before,
really?
So you'll have to go.
Sound a
listen.
lot
Okay.
like. Yeah, you do for sure.
Yeah.
My daughter says I sound like the ostrich in, what show is it? Because I laugh like some ostrich on Comedy Central,
An ostrich on Comedy Central.
No, it was not Comedy
well.
Central on the Cartoon Network or something.
Oh, okay.
She sends me this pictures. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. Yeah. Anyway, so Emory had it, and it was too much for them. They didn't want to take care of it and so forth. They sold it to a church, and that's when things went downhill. They leased it to a gallery owner, artist, who pretty much left the house abandoned. And as a lot of older people like to say, then the hippies moved in.
So, wait,
they had vagrants.
The church took it as a profit?
Yes. Well, no, I mean,
investment?
I think they were going to have it as a church, and they figured out it wasn't practical, and so they
had to do something with it.
Yeah.
They leased it outright just to make some money, but then they just let the whole place go, and it got ransacked. The organ was damaged. Apparently, they just had they were putting candles on the console for the organ, on this beautiful walnut finish, and the wax just went all over the place. And they were, they throwing pipes around and stealing stuff and stealing light fixtures. We've got a beautiful, and I believe, folklore says that it's a Tiffany's lamp, silver Tiffany's lamp. I still have yet to confirm this, right?
Couldn't you reach out to Tiffany's and find
Well,
out?
that's what everybody says. Once again, anybody working for Tiffany's?
Miss Tiffany, please.
Tiffany, paging.
Come by Callanwolde and verify this for me.
Paging Tiffany.
We got so much stuff going on. It got stolen.
Oh no.
And a neighbor saw it this is way back, probably, the 70s, right?
The AJC classifieds.
Saw it at a pawn shop.
Of course.
And bought it.
How much did they pawn it for?
I don't know. I think it was quite a bit. I think it was, thousands.
Okay.
Right? I mean, if you saw the thing, it's amazing.
Not a Rick Harrison Pawn Stars.
No, I mean,
$10 offer.
Oh my God! I mean, it's gorgeous, and it's got these cool little griffins, like little figures on it, that are just beautiful. Just the griffins on it are nice, and then they donated it back to Callanwolde.
The pawn shop did.
Yep.
Good for them.
Yeah. No, not the pawn shop.
No, the
neighbor
people that bought
it.
The neighbor bought it for the
Yeah,
pawn shop.
gotcha.
It would have been really good for the pawn shop.
I was like, they need some free marketing for sure for that one.
Yeah, no, really. But that was a long time ago, and
Maybe
that's in our dining room. So then, right, the place has gone to hell, and so
This is about 1980s?
The church was going to sell it to a developer, and they were going to. No, this was in the 70s. This is actually late 60s, early 70s. Church was going to sell it to a developer and knock it down and put condos in.
Just like they did with the building where they wrote the first country hit.
And so the director of Parks and Rec at the time for DeKalb County said, whoa, this is a significant building. We need to figure this out. And then Druid Hills Civic Association, a bunch of folks from and the neighborhood, Druid Hills, created the Callanwolde Foundation, and they started to raise money. And let me tell you, they went door to door, they had bake sales. This is like
grassroots.
Old school.
Old school grassroots, right? A lot of old ladies created the Callanwolde Guild, and they through thankfully there was a HUD grant at the time, they had a matching HUD grant, and they raised enough money to buy it.
Wow.
Yeah, which is amazing.
That's great.
That was the start. Then they had to restore it.
Yeah, that was the start of
yeah.
putting life back
and they
in it.
continued to raise money, and then in so that would happen around 1972, 1973, they started having classes. And that's when the whole pottery and everything else started.
So y'all been working as a nonprofit for almost 40 years.
Well, so the Callanwolde Foundation has been around since then. At the time, all they did was raise money. They didn't take over the running of Callanwolde until 1982.
They just hired it out.
No, it was DeKalb County.
Okay.
DeKalb
The
County
county took
ran
care of
it. Ran it as a fine arts center.
Wow.
Yeah. And then
Was it
there was
successful?
a CEO, Manny Malouf. I don't know if you ever heard of, Manuel's Tavern.
Oh, yeah.
So
That's him?
Same. He, same family. He said, I don't want to he was quite a character, I guess. I don't want to run a fine arts center anymore. We'll own it. We'll own the dirt. We'll, help you with utilities and everything else, and you can lease it from us. So we lease it from the county for $1 a year.
Nice.
Which is
That's
great.
awesome.
But over the years, we've done a tremendous amount. We've raised millions and millions of dollars, and the county's helped us out as well. They continue to help us out in a big, big way. I mean, and I got to tell you, a plug for the new CEO, Michael Thurman. He is doing an amazing job. It's like night and day.
So what's the difference between his job and your job?
Are you kidding? He's got a little bit bigger job than I do. He runs the county.
Yeah.
I just
Oh, the
runs
county.
Yeah, I was
county.
gonna say
The county.
county.
Michael Thurman. No, Michael Thurman is.
You're thinking the CEO
of DeKalb.
Callanwolde.
Of DeKalb County. I'm just the executive
Gotcha.
director. Lowly executive director.
Yeah, right.
But and I work for a board of directors.
Yeah.
Who are
I
great.
thought he was the CEO of the.
No.
Okay, I got you.
No, that's.
That's what I was like.
No,
what are you talking about, dude?
He's really done a lot for DeKalb
that's
County,
great.
is from what I see. But so now we run it, and things are going extremely well. We used to have Jazz on the Lawn. 20th year this year.
Wow.
It is.
They literally used to do it on the front lawn, and then I want to say it's been about 10 years maybe. We've had the amphitheater, and now it's like, man, we can have some killer performances out there, and everybody can see because it's carved out of a side of a hill, and it's down when you get toward the bottom. It's terraced granite, this big granite stage.
Is it ticketed?
Oh yeah, it's ticketed. Yes.
Only jazz?
Jazz on the Lawn.
We do Jazz on the Lawn,
but
but we do some other things periodically. Some people get married down there too because we're a big wedding venue. Oh yeah, it's crucial to us.
So are those your main two sources of income, or
No
contributions?
Well, you got classes, of course.
Yeah.
Contributions. It's ideally it's a third. You've got all the revenue from rentals and events. Then you've got donations, and then programs, which are all the classes, right? Mm-hmm. That it moves around a little bit from year to year, but ideally it's about a third.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I could see some good country shows coming into there. I mean, it's just like some acoustic country. It's so good, especially with the way I'm sure the sound is incredible.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It is absolutely amazing.
Did they build it with acoustics in mind?
I
Had to, right?
I mean, why not?
I would assume there's a wall behind the stage, so it projects up the hill.
Yeah.
And we've got Kemper and Paul. They do great sound, and we haven't done anything acoustic down there though. Joe will play. He'll come up because he's played at Callanwolde a lot. He'll come up the steps into the crowd and play. He'll have a saxophone player on one side. He's doing this.
The back and forth.
Back and forth, and it's phenomenal.
That's cool.
And so we got 4 more shows, and the next one is on the 6th, and that's Eddie Lopez, and I'm going to try not to screw up the name, Eddie. It is actually I'll tell you what type of music it is because
there you
I
go.
screw up the
That's
name.
probably the best.
It's Cuban.
We wouldn't be able to spell it.
It's
anyway.
Cuban music.
Right.
Which I love.
Yeah.
It's a great sound. It's not something you hear a lot of in Atlanta. And Joe was the one that turned me on to Eddie. And Joe and I worked together to put the whole,
program
together. Because, I came in as the executive director. It doesn't mean I'm necessarily an expert on music or jazz.
But you had
I've done a lot of
27
things.
years at Callanwolde, right?
Well, I was on the board for 12 years.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
you
I was
started as
off
a-
for a little bit. I served as president for a while.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And you started as a drawing student, correct?
Exactly.
So but you went to Michigan.
Yep, University of
So
Michigan.
give us your background.
Sure. So grew up in Michigan. Don't hold that against me.
No, that's all right.
I'm a damn Yankee because I'm one of those Northerners that stayed, and I'm going to.
Well, no, but see the difference is because
After 20 years, you're in Atlanta.
Well, though. But it's do you embrace Atlanta?
yeah.
Do you
It's a
embrace?
nonprofit.
Of course,
Absolutely.
that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying that you're unlike a damn Yankee is somebody that comes, stays, don't leave, but they don't embrace the beautiful city of
You know
Atlanta.
more about Atlanta's history than we probably do.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So
But
you're
but
native
that's what
now,
I'm
okay.
saying. That's what I'm saying. It's important. Like my wife's from upstate New York, but she embraces the city of Atlanta, where it's
Right.
The people that drive me crazy are the ones that come here and then don't embrace the city, and they're like, "Oh, it's so much better back home." I'm like, "Well, dude,
criticize it.
fine. Dude, Delta is ready when you are."
Exactly. Exactly. Or you can drive.
Yeah, or
So you
or
graduated
whatever.
and came straight to Atlanta?
No. Man, I've been all over the place. So
I've been everywhere.
Johnny Cash.
Yeah, exactly. I've been there. That's good. I went to University of Michigan School of Art. Actually, so I graduated with a Bachelor of Fine Arts, And I was like, everybody says, "Oh, okay, so then you were artists?" I said, "No,
Not really.
Oh yeah, 'cause you went to Georgia State.
I went into advertising, you know, and I did that for like 20 years, and I was, you know, working on, you know, with clients and strategy and so forth, and media and that type of thing, and not on the creative side necessarily, but it gave me the ability to communicate that way with creative folks and clients, which was great. And then I got my MBA at Georgia State, and which was awesome because I never had to take an accounting class or a finance class as a art student.
Yeah.
You know, and it was tough. It was great though. It was a great program. It was their executive MBA program, so I was working full time and doing that.
It's always ranked one of the best.
Really kill me.
Yeah.
And then eventually I actually worked for a
Wealth management, right?
wealth management firm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There you go.
Which was, that was sort of, it was bringing together all these different things that when this Callanwolde opportunity came, my first reaction was, "Are you kidding?" Yeah, no, you
I'm
know.
good, thank you.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I thought about it, I was like, wow, this is actually perfect. Because I got the art side, and then I've got the marketing side, and then I got the finance side. And I use all of them every day at my job.
Yeah.
So I feel really, really lucky. It's the best job I've ever had in my life. It's the best job I will ever have, I'm sure. It's probably, honestly, the most stressful, but I don't mind that.
It's only stressful because you care.
Right, yeah.
Right. I mean, I wake up in the middle of the night and I go, wow, we gotta do this thing, we gotta do that thing. Or, you know, and I can't wait to get up and get to work and start getting to work on it because we made a ton of changes with a bunch of different things. And, but it's going great.
Love it.
Class enrollments are way up.
That's great.
You know,
news.
we're financially very sound. Donations, everything is going really, really well. We had, you know, our best attended Jazz on the Lawn, and it was in the house, you know.
Right.
So we tested it. We tested everything.
That's
On the,
awesome.
yeah, on the bricks.
On the bricks.
Was it 99
On the
X
bricks.
back in the day?
Back in the day that used to do it.
That's right. I remember
Yeah,
that.
99 X, man.
Way
I saw
back in the day.
Chumbawamba.
Yeah, did you really on the bricks? That's funny.
And Sister Hazel.
That's right. Yeah, that's super
Nice.
funny. We're
Nice.
with Andrew Keenan. He is the executive director of Callanwolde Fine Arts Center, and you can learn more about those guys. As a matter of fact, websites and stuff, so people can find them.
It's super easy. It's Callanwolde.org.
Yeah, Callanwolde.
Yeah.
There you go. That's easy enough.
It's about as easy as it gets.
And Mind Your Business is brought to you by the fine folks at SR Homes. They are a builder focused on you, and they build throughout Atlanta. Go to srhomes.com. Got about 5 minutes left.
So I got two business questions and then there's some personal. So
Sure.
You replaced one of my friends, Peggy.
Yes.
And what do you think her biggest legacy that she left was?
Peggy took a bunch of buildings that were like, they literally had holes in the roofs, or one was even demolished. And man, I mean, she built up, it's great. The facility is phenomenal now. We took an old barn and it has like a state-of-the-art recording booth in it, and an apartment down below that we use for artists in residence, which is great. We have we had a greenhouse that for as long as I could remember had a tree basically fallen into it.
Oh no.
You know, and then the ivy comes and everything else. Now it's a state-of-the-art greenhouse. It's absolutely phenomenal. People go in there and it's like, oh, I mean, this is incredible. It's got all, you know, the windows that open and close and so forth. Yeah, it's amazing. And that was, you know, that pretty much took up most of her. I mean, it was over a $2 million capital campaign and project. Yeah, so, and she just rolled up her sleeves and got it done in record time. It is amazing.
She's a mover and shaker for sure.
Oh yeah, she definitely.
So last business question for you, and then we'll hit a little personal stuff.
Sure.
What do you want your legacy to be as director?
You know, this is probably pretty ambitious, but
First director on Tug and Phil?
Yeah, right. Done.
to
Check
be
mark.
here, I've already done it.
Check
I'm
mark.
here.
Check it off the box.
No, I mean, I don't know if you guys were around when the Botanical Gardens was.
Tug's crazy old.
Right?
Yeah, I'm 42, so
Okay,
I've
so the Botanical Gardens, when we first moved here in '99, although this is my third time in Atlanta, it was a wonderful place, but there was not much happening there, right? And then I don't know exactly, you know, I think they might have gotten a new executive director or something like, you know what it's like now, right?
Yeah.
And they had their sort of what I call a Choluli moment, right? And they brought in Choluli, and now that place is just happening.
Yeah, it's a go-to.
So much going on, it's great. I know Callanwolde is very different from Botanical Gardens, but I want to be of that stature.
Yeah.
I want to be internationally known.
One of the first top of mind things people think
Yes.
is Big Atlanta.
And we are really working hard to, you know, get the mansion to a place where it's, you know, just absolutely beautiful, but historic, you know. It's not going to be pristine. It's not going to look brand new, but it's going to.
But it's not supposed to.
Right. It's going to keep its historic roots and so forth. And then have, like, internationally known jazz artists come, right? Have, you know, artists, you know, fine artists that, you know, visual artists come, so forth, so that we really are on the map. And the complete grounds, all of our grounds, you know, in really incredible shape. And we're doing it, small bits and pieces, right? But there's still a lot of stuff to do. You know, if you look close, it's, you know, there's still a few things, right, that we still got to work on.
But Andrew,
and I just have high standards for that.
If you think about it, though, that's the one thing I feel like in the United States that we don't do well, because I think we're the greatest nation on earth, hands down. But the one thing I don't think we do well is preserve our history, because we knock everything down and build condos on top of it, or build something new.
Right.
You know, Wrigley Field and Fenway Park are the only old baseball stadiums that are really around anymore. We knock them down and build new ones. And that's where I think what you're doing is so wonderful, because it is preserving such a legacy that is the city of Atlanta. And you talk about the imperfections, but that's where I find the perfection of a place like
the Candlers
Callanwolde.
would roll over in their grave if condos were built.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord.
Who would? No
A lot of Atlanta.
Yeah.
Old
Well, they
Atlanta
were
would.
still, you know, they were still alive, you know, a lot of them. Now, Charles wasn't, but, you know, and we still have some folks on the board that are related to, they don't have the same last name, but they, you know, they're big
lineage.
supporters, and they work with me personally, and I say, hey, you know, we've got doors and windows in this one room that are not original to the house. I want to take them out and put curtains back in like they had originally.
That's cool.
And they're like, go for it, you know.
That's really
and they kind of are my gut check when I, you know, want to do certain things, and it's awesome.
So on the personal side of things, you get to meet a lot of musicians and famous artists that come through. So we always like to ask, do you fanboy out around any? Have there ever been any that you've been like, oh man, that's Papa J, or like, you know, or like has there, or you know, that's Picasso. Like has anything
Picasso, like Van Gogh comes by once in a while.
Rolling through.
No,
but are there people like that still, or is it just work now?
It's, you know, I hate to say it, it's work. I never had been one to
Fanboy out.
I appreciate that, though. I'd like that better anyway.
I don't know. I think it makes whoever you're talking to
A little uncomfortable. Yeah.
Well,
I figure that, you know, they're there and they don't want pressure. I mean, it was great. You know, Joe, this last Friday, you know, he's like, hey, and he's just a regular guy, you know. He's just like, hey, is there like a green room that we can have? Because we had one all set up for him when we were.
Joe, we got a green house.
And he was basically up in my office, you know, and it was great. And he's just hanging out, and they're up there, you know, he's cracking jokes with everybody, and he's just a regular guy, you know. And you know, a lot of people are in awe of him, and they should be, because he's an amazing artist. But you know, he's just a regular.
He's on top of his business game too, though.
Oh yeah.
Joe's one of the few who knows can do it all.
Yeah, he's got his bourbon, you know.
Yeah. So when do we get to sample that?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So what do you do for fun?
What do I do for fun?
Yeah, if you don't fanboy out around musicians.
Oh man,
that's all we do. That's all I do.
I have this horrible vice called fly fishing.
Oh, I got it. A river runs through it style, huh?
Oh yeah, that's you guys are close.
You do the Chattahoochee?
I do the Chattahoochee. I go out west.
No kidding.
Go
That's
up
cool.
north. I go
That's
all
cool.
over the place.
How does our scene fare in Georgia?
It's pretty good, man. The Chattahoochee, if you're with the right people, they pull out 30-inch brown trout.
Wow.
Yeah, there's huge fish.
Holy smokes.
You don't know? It's serious. That's a tailwater.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
Coming off the bottom of
I would have never
Buford
guessed that.
Dam, it's ice cold water. You stand in that water and it's 90 degrees and your feet are freezing. That's pretty cool.
So because my son is 15 and he loves athletics. He's a baseball, football, basketball player, but when he's not at practice or playing, he wants to be fishing.
No kidding.
All the time. Kid would go fishing any day of the week. All you have to do is say, let's go fishing, and he's in. But he's never been fly fishing. Is that something that because I'm not a good fisherman to begin with.
How old is he?
15.
He's ready.
Okay.
Yeah, 15. If he's got good eye-hand coordination.
He does.
And patience.
Yeah. He's got both of those.
I tell you, it ain't the cheapest sport in the world, but either is golf.
Either is baseball.
For that matter. Right.
$500 bats.
There's a guy in town, you said River runs through it, and that's the name of his company, basically.
Really?
I think it's A River runs through it.
Yeah.
Chris Scally. I would call Chris and get out on a boat with him or one of his guys.
And they do lessons?
And they'll do lessons from the boat. You catch fish while you're learning, and that's the way I learned. And that was the way that...
You charge him $500 for that plug.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That way I can buy a new baseball
I'm telling
bat.
you, that's the way to do it.
That's cool.
There's schools and stuff, and they get you out with yarn on the end of a fly rod and stuff. But it's like
just get out there and jump in.
You want to catch fish.
Absolutely.
If you're a fisherman,
Oh yeah.
You want to be.
Kid
and
loves
then
it.
you're into it, and then you learn how to land them and stuff, and you'll go out. Heck, I mean, if the conditions are right, you go out and catch 20 fish. In a day.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would love that for sure.
Yeah. Chattahoochee's full of trout.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
and so obviously you're a jazz guy. We always ask what do you listen to on the radio?
I listen to a lot of news talk, to tell you the truth. But,
Okay.
Obviously, 680 The Fan.
Oh, of course.
All day, every day.
All day, every day.
And sports
Absolutely.
You don't even have to pretend. News talk's great, man. I'm fine with that.
I'm a little bit of a news junkie.
Yeah. I
I'm an old man though, so that's
well. But I went opposite because I used to be a news junkie, and the news is just so awful and ugly and depressing.
Yeah.
I've completely turned. I don't listen to news at all anymore, which is it bothers me that I don't know what's going on now. But it's just better for my mental state.
Well, if you missed it today, KFC has chicken that's not chicken.
Yeah, I heard about it. Yeah, I did hear about that.
Have you heard about this?
Vegan.
That's news.
You haven't heard this?
No, I have not.
So it's the one right up here on the corner. You'll see it's green. So this is the one nationally, right?
Nationally that they're doing
So they're doing Beyond Meat. So it's the vegan.
Oh, it's like this Impossible Burger thing?
Exactly.
I think
it's
for chicken?
I think it's the same company.
Wow.
But they're doing it up
My
here.
daughter is a vegetarian, and she is...
You stop by and get a bucket of
She
chicken.
is all over this Impossible Burger,
Yeah, no interest. No interest for me.
It's, every once in a while I'll eat a veggie burger with her because,
No, which is fine. But I'm just saying, as in general, I just no interest.
Yeah.
I'm a carnivore.
My favorite quote ever is, "I don't eat food that my food eats."
That's the greatest line of all time. Andrew Keenan, he is the executive director of Callanwolde, and it's a fine arts center. It's a 501c3.
Correct.
And you can do self-guided tours. You got the secret tour. Look, I don't know how you. I don't have to get signed up for that.
Yeah, you can do self-guided, or we can.
But pottery, there's jazz on the lawn, there is music.
Huge dance program.
Dance programs.
Huge dance. Yeah.
And you can,
for kids.
Callanwolde.org is the website. You guys social media too? Yeah, I want to say.
Most of it's at Callanwolde. Like I think our Twitter accounts at Callanwolde. And obviously Facebook.
Yeah, and Instagram and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Is there anything that we left out? What's the one thing that you think that we left out that we should have asked about?
The name of the name. Tell us the name.
Oh yeah,
you told us.
Yeah.
But tell our listeners
how the name Callanwolde.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We'll end on that.
So the Candlers were from Ireland, right? And they lived in what was called the Callan Castle, believe it or not. And so that's where the Callan. That's where the Callan part. Castles. That's where the Callan part came from. And Wald is Old English for woods. And I talked to. We have a guy. I think he's been with Callanwolde for 30 years. He said, "So what's the biggest change around here?" And he said, "There used to be a lot more trees."
Oh wow.
Because they're
developing.
They're 100-year-old trees, and they're coming down. We had to take one down today that was dead.
No kidding.
So
and a lot of them came down on the house.
Were they pines mostly?
No. Big old oaks.
Oh, really?
Huge oaks.
Were they imported?
No.
We're natural to oaks?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
The live oak is Georgia state tree.
Yeah, man.
Learn something new every day.
Black oaks, there's
I didn't know
tons
that.
of them. Yep.
So there you go. Well, we appreciate your time, man.
Hey, this has been great. I
thanks
love
for
talking to
coming
you
It's
guys.
a fascinating place, and you know, I hope to get over there. I want to get with Phil and see if we can't hook up with you and find that top level and that bourbon that you were talking about.
That's Joe.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
that's
I
Joe.
know. Well, Joe seems to be there a lot.
Yeah.
He does seem to be there a lot. Yeah, actually, he's coming back. You know, he's the closer for Jazz on the Lawn with Francine Reed. And I don't know if you know Francine, but she is absolutely amazing.
Let's go down there and interview
And that
Joe.
show, I would not be surprised if it sells out.
Oh, yeah.
And we could fit a lot of people in that place, but it is, I'm sure our VIP section will sell out,
No, it's cool.
but it's amazing.
Well, our spot's on the roof, so we're good.
That's right. Where the bourbon is.
That's right.
I keep going back to that.
I don't know. If you could see the ladder you got to climb to get up on that roof,
Yeah.
you might wanna drink.
You might not want to have too many bourbon.
Yeah.
You'll have to sign a release.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Mind Your Business is brought to you by the fine folks at SR Homes. They are a builder focused on you, build throughout the Atlanta metropolitan area, and you can find them on the web at srhomes.com.
At SR Homes, our end goal is to create a home that's unique to you, one that you and your family will enjoy for years to come. With over 4 decades of home building experience, SR Homes has become a top home builder in Atlanta, offering a variety of communities in the most sought-after locations. Locally owned and operated, SR Homes is a builder focused on you. For more information, visit us at srhomes.com.